Cemetery to see the monthly inspection
This is
report.
which is a report that you've written that he's declared an interest in.
Well, that's seven memorials which will be kept an eye on, see if they deteriorate anymore.
But he's presented a report.
This is a key information that he's been saying.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for you, okay? How often are these stones inspected and how are they inspected? Because doing this to a stone, okay, the way that they're anchored to the base with a peg, stainless steel rod, and they put a piece of stone in and they put cement in there to lock that piece of stone in place. By doing that every month, could weaken the cement joint that locks the stainless steel pins that come through the base into the headstone, and that's why I asked how often are they physically.
It's an inspection, so my guess would be monthly.
So,
good deduction there.
no.
Without talking to Andrew, I wouldn't know exactly how he did it, but I'm sure he's been told by a stonemason, somebody in the know, you know, how to inspect it.
It's because doing that every month can weaken the.
I don't know that he's doing that.
He does
He
that.
might be just going like that. I don't know.
When the shoes go up there with him when he's doing it.
I mean, if you're around, if you ask him.
It's got to give us a demonstration.
Right. Okay. Report from Councillor West regarding advice received from CBC on procedure for commencing with corpus, funerals and graves.
Yeah. Central Beds does not own any cemeteries. Central Beds does not own any crematoria, so they have to work with local councils, okay, to do public health burials, stroke, paupers' graves, okay. So that means to say that the taxpayer of this community, through Central Bed, has to pick hold of the funeral bill of that person who has to be interred in there. And with us charging as much as we do for permission to inter, and considering it's ratepayers' money, okay, that's being used, I'd like to see a agreement between us and Central Beds whereby somebody has died from within Arlesey, okay, because Central Beds have to take on the public health funerals because they are the what we call the licence authority, okay. That instead of us charging the, I believe it's £800 for permission to go in there, that we arrange a deal with Central Beds, that the taxpayer from Central Beds doesn't have to pick up that bigger cost.
Can I just ask, when was the last time you had a pauper that needed a burial?
Well, I can answer that in North Arts because my brother.
No, I don't wish to
Well,
talk about
North
North
Arts,
I want to
Central
talk
Beds
about
Central Beds would not give you that information because they turned around and said they would not give you that information because it could be
Well, I'm
backtracked.
talking specifically around that, about Arlesey.
They would not
be
give,
responsible for the paupers in Arlesey.
they would not give that information.
Well, I mean, surely the villagers and people would know whether we ever actually ever had to pay for a pauper's funeral.
No, they wouldn't because it comes out of Central Beds, not Arlesey County. Central Beds.
So we don't actually have to pay.
No.
Central Beds pay for it.
Central Beds have to pay everything.
So why would we?
Because I'm asking, because we've increased the funeral, the right to go in our cemetery.
If they pay, does that matter?
It's ratepayers' money. So at the end of the day, I'm looking to say.
I'm concerned about the Arlesey ratepayer. I'm not concerned
Arlesey
about.
ratepayers are going to pick up.
If Central Beds are paying for that burial, and they pay for the plot and the burial and everything around that pauper's thing. So why is that an issue for Arlesey Town Council?
Because we own the cemetery.
Could you expand upon that, please, Councillor West? Because that makes no sense to me. That we own the cemetery.
Central Beds to Arlesey. Arlesey right has to foot that bill there. I don't understand the logic like it.
Someone's going to pick hold of the £800. So I'm just saying, do it at a reduced price to them.
But the £800 is there for a reason.
Yeah.
Because we incur a cost. We don't make a profit from that.
I understand that.
Right, so if that £800 isn't found from a purse, central beds, then it's got to come out of the Almsey coffers. Or am I missing something? That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Well, yes, the agenda item just says it's a report from Councillor West. I don't actually, are you actually making a suggestion, Dave?
Well, I asked, and I got told last month to come back and with more information from Central Beds. That is exactly what I did. I went back to Central Beds and I asked them exactly the way
What with a view to proposing what?
that we could actually work with Central Beds so the people who live within this community, we've actually paid for that cemetery, okay, for those who haven't got life assurance or they haven't got loved ones who can actually take on the funeral cost, okay, can actually turn around and step up to the plate and turn around and say, this council is an understanding council and we can help with that cost, rather than just sticking it all on Central Beds.
The Central Beds have an agreement with the DSS.
No. What happens is, there's two grants, there's two ways of doing it. The DSS will give those who qualify a £2,000 grant towards that. Central Beds, when Central Beds get involved, Central Beds have to pay the full amount, and it is literally no church service.
Is that in this document you've given me?
Have you read it? Have you read it?
No,
Well, there you go.
I've been very busy doing other things.
Well, there
so
you
don't
go.
even go there, David.
So there you go. Sorry, it was delivered Thursday.
I don't know about the other councils, but personally I'd say, you know, when the problem arises,
But Central Beds won't.
deal with it then.
Right.
It's no good setting up these things now. It might never happen.
Well, they do happen, okay.
It's never happened.
I
Here, as far
asked
as
the
I'm aware.
question.
I mean,
Right. They happen, I keep being told we're not interested in North Arts. I couldn't get the detail from Central Beds. North Arts told me that since January they've had 7. And that's all they would turn around and say.
Councillor West, can I just say there is a procedure for this being dealt with if there is no finance available?
Yeah, Central Beds pick up the tag.
So basically, why can't we just follow that procedure?
Well, okay, then we don't help. We just try to say that
So we would support them, wouldn't we, by giving them access and stuff like that?
No, all what happens is, okay, Central Beds arrange to the undertaker it's going to be a pauper's funeral or a public health funeral, it's a correct terminology. They pay for a digger to dig the ground, okay? They don't even pay for a vicar, that the person gives up their time, a reader from a church goes if they want that, and it's what you call a great side service. It doesn't even go into the church. It is literally straight up the hearse, plain coffin, straight in the ground. Someone kindly says a few words over the body, digger digs it back in, and away you go. That is what.
So do you want us to subsidise the funeral then?
What I'm saying is, can we make arrangements to make the bit that we charge them, okay, reduced?
But Central Beds pay that.
No, Dave, I think we've just got to make a statement that we would support the Central Beds in any procedure dealing with a pauper funeral. That's all we need to do. There's no need to get any more involved in that. I don't understand the need to
As and when
make it more
required.
complicated than all it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deal with a couple of things.
okay. Right, I can see.
Yeah, that's what we
Couple
can
of
do.
costs.
But we propose that. Could take it to the full council. Full council don't have a clue what's going on in there, do they? Oh, they might do, some of them might be, isn't it?
Right, item C, to consider a request from a resident to put a plaque on one of the arbours.
Yeah, I had a resident in a month or 2 months ago. His wife passed away several years ago and he's buried in the cemetery. And then his mother-in-law has recently died and he's now in the cemetery as well. And apparently when his wife died, he purchased one of the arbours that are down in the cemetery. And he has requested that whether he could put a plaque on the arbour in memory of his wife and mother-in-law. I did go back in the minutes and found out he's mentioned that he purchased one of the one of the arbours, in memory of his wife. So that is merited that he did purchase that particular one. So, just
I don't have a problem with
Does
that.
it, does it fall in the guidelines of the cemetery?
well, our seats down on the flat.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
No problem.
yeah,
No problem.
yeah. Has it got to go to town council?
Yeah.
Do it right, do it right.
Right, moving on to
That is quite a big agenda.
moving on to item 8, allotments. To receive the monthly inspection report for the allotment site, Kerry Rise and Stockwell Road. This must be bad. isn't it? So we've got a there are a number that haven't got tenants. So. Okay. There are a number that need weeding. It's a mixture of new tenants and vacant plots. So obviously we give the new tenants an opportunity to get themselves established. So they will be allowed time to continue and get on top of their rights. Okay, but obviously if it continues for any sort of duration of time, then throughout that time, then we have better.
Allotments,
Yeah.
and we had that large area cleared. Have they come back and finished off and then de-rooted it? And what's going on the second part of the Hilly Rise?
Someone fly tipping up there.
Last meeting, it was reported that, the work had been completed as far as it was going to go. And then we started to look at the possibilities of electric.
Yeah, and we were happy to do that, but it was said that we needed to hang on to those for future allotments.
To continue it as partially as allotments and partially, whether we could do an electric.
But we are happy to.
I missed the comment of
Mr McGregor said someone's fly tipped up there.
Is there?
Yeah, but you will get fly tipping because, as I said, there is nothing to stop people driving on it and dumping what they like. And that was why I asked the contractor who did the work for a quote to put a new fence and a gate to stop people driving onto that land. Because there's literally nothing to stop anybody driving on there in the middle of the night and dumping whatever they want.
Is it the access to it? Is it just solely
Just at the top of Lyman's Road, and you can literally drive where there used to be some garages which have been pulled down, and now it's just empty space, and you drive around the corner and straight onto it.
And it's not an access to anywhere else.
No, just the field.
Just pure. Right.
It's coming back to the next town council meeting.
Right.
I think it needs to be discussed at another time, and then
Apparently
it comes
it is.
up to
Yeah,
me.
okay. Okay, the next item on allotments is consider a request for the erection of a shed of allotment plot. Basically saying he wants to put a small allotment shed up there, and he's read his handbook and he's aware that he needs permission. So,
Recommend approval.
Yeah.
you happy with that? Yeah. Send him a letter, just say yes. Okay. Item 9, multi-use games area in Riga. Receive the monthly report.
There's been no problems up there. We rent out the netball and football now.
Can I just ask, how is it going with opening and closing the gate? There's no issue with that?
The odd person who gets locked in, and then caretaker has to come round and see who it is and tries to find them, but one person's car got locked in there overnight.
Yes, sir.
Just as an observation, I was walking the dog around the other day and there was a group of young lads and I suddenly heard a band going off and smoke and so on. So I walked up to see what was going on and they were burning clothes.
Really?
Well, it was, actually it was more the school field at the top. But, saw me approaching, they all scattered. There was a t-shirt and some gloves and a pair of trousers hanging on one of the branches. I don't know what the idea is.
David, do you have a question? All right. Okay. Right, now moving on to B, to consider the requirements of the ground staff for storage unit. We were looking at the possibility of putting a shipping container type office or a secure site office by the Muda to allow the staff a place, a tea area and somewhere to work, use the workshop. Hopefully.
Yeah, I spoke to the boys and they said that they'd settled for something as small as 12 foot by 9 foot. If that was big enough to get the sit on mowing.
Yeah.
No window, they didn't need a window, obviously needed electricity. Needed to be anti-vandal, so metal ones are more secure, and preferably with a big door and a little door. And we did say that
Yeah, because
that
this was,
one was 20
basically the other couple of weeks back, I just as a quick check, just looked around on the internet to see what was available. They do like a canteen type office, anti-vandal shipping container, which are basically shipping containers that have been modified to act as secure stores and things like that. The sort of ballpark figure we're looking at is 2,600 plus VAT. Obviously there are other places. That's the sort of figure we'd be looking at spending. Now before we did this, we'd obviously have to approach Central Beds to see what planning permission we would require for placing something like this as a temporary building. And then obviously we'd have to get quotations for electrical supply to be supplied to them. Did they think that they required water or anything like that?